What up, family? It is your boy, Sylvester Stimley, also known as Sly. Welcome back for another episode of Keeping It Kingdom. And I got some guests in the building. Actually, hold on. Let me rewind. This is not guests. This is family in the room. So I got Jalen Momoh in the room. We have Kylie. You can't see Kylie and you can't see Madison, but they're in the building as well. And then obviously we have our amazing OG producer, Mr. Robbie Petherbridge, here today. So, man, we're going to jump right into this thing.
Yeah.
But before we do, we just need to remind them that keeping it kingdom is not just a saying, it's a lifestyle. And kingdom mindsets lead to kingdom connections, and kingdom connections lead to kingdom relationships, and kingdom relationships always lead to kingdom impact. And so today we have an opportunity, a pretty unique opportunity, to talk about all things camp. And then we're going to talk about some stuff you got going on, Mr. Jalen, over in the Crowley Fort Worth area.
Yes, sir.
But yes, welcome back. My little brother in Christ, Mr. Jalen Momoh. Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good. Today's been a good day. It's been a good day.
Did you work out this morning?
No, I did not.
You know, usually he's like, man, I'm gonna walk in. Did you get a walk in?
No, we had that breakfast. So
okay.
Took that breakfast time, and
how'd that go?
it went really good.
It was good.
I had some good conversations.
Now I had to dip out early because I had to go coach.
Yeah.
You know, but you feel like you had some kingdom conversations over there?
Really kingdom conversations. Opening doors conversations.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. It's nothing more encouraging than when you can walk into an environment and see, women do this well. Like women, they can sit down, not know each other, and talk for like
hours.
Yeah. But us, we could sit in the same space for 7 hours and not say a word to each other.
That's true.
It's weird. I don't know what okay. Yeah, it's just. So I walk in this morning, y'all were already there. And I actually ran into someone that I've known for years, and they were at the very far end of the patio. And he made a compliment about it, which was encouraging because they've been meeting in that same space for 13 years.
Wow.
Same space.
Wow.
That group that he was with.
Yeah.
Did you see the guy I was talking to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's like, yeah, man, we've been doing a Bible study for 13 years. We've been coming here for 13 years, same time, like same location. And he's like, sometimes we have more people. And so I just love when you can see like what's possible, right? So he's saying 13 years. And then what he recognized, he was like, man, what y'all are doing, I don't know what this is, but this is beautiful to see that many men show up because we've been doing the same thing. So it's pretty cool to be able to have that kingdom conversation with him about the kingdom impact of what he saw and experienced through the TCal men this morning. So, but there was a conversation me and you had that I think would be beneficial for those that may be watching who may not understand the value of serving when it comes to organizations. Obviously, we're going to talk about FCA, but also maybe serving at the local church. You've had a unique opportunity to be able to sit in a seat over the last month where you went as a leader to Camp Generate.
Yeah.
Put on by YM 360 down at La Tech University through TCal Church. And then you come home, you sleep for a few days, try to get recovered.
Try.
And then you leave like
6
or 7 days later to go get ready for FCA camp down at Hardin Simmons. And you sat in a different seat in that one. And so Robbie can, he can relate from a leader's perspective. At Generate, Kylie and Madison can kind of relate from the perspective of the seat that y'all sent in at FCA. Man, there's a lot that you're pouring out.
There is.
There's a lot. I know you and Robbie didn't sleep much when you was at Generate, and I know the three of y'all didn't sleep much when you was at FCA camp.
No.
And But there's a lot that you sold in, and so I just want for our viewers that may be curious, like, is it worth it? Is it really worth it to lose that much sleep,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Because one thing, so let me tell you first why we have to answer this. Sunday mornings, Robbie gets to the church at like 7:15, right? Leaves the church about 1:30. He's already serving at the church. To go on camp for a week, after doing that on Sunday, somebody's like, why would you pour out that many hours? Okay? You serve at the church when your schedule permits. You serve as a leader.
Yeah.
And again, there's hours that you're pouring out in that week. You come back and then you have a job.
Yeah.
You work for FCA. And then you go and you pour out again. You're losing sleep. You're away from activities, things that you may enjoy doing.
Yeah.
And many people are just like, I just can't wrap my mind around not being able to be in my comfort, my bed, right? My routine.
Yes.
Maybe some people have before and after work routines where they go have coffee with a girlfriend or a guy friend, right?
Yeah.
After work, there may be something that you love doing, but man, like,
Yeah.
you've had a couple weeks where you didn't get to do that. Why? Like, why? Why?
I think God what he's been working on my heart, especially this season of life, is sacrifice. What are you willing to sacrifice, knowing how much he's sacrificed for you? and
hold on. That's kind of an intense perspective.
Yeah.
That to have that at the forefront of your mind.
Yeah.
Because basically what you're saying is really no excuse.
It's not. When you know your calling and you're walking in purpose and you realize the sacrifice that he has done, you also have to put in perspective, okay, what sacrifices am I willing to make and what sacrifices am I running from? And especially with sleep, especially from week to week or from camp to camp, understanding what is hanging in the balance, right? Because he knows, but do you know? And if you do know, are you choosing to take that responsibility or just let somebody else take it?
What's hanging in the balance?
Yeah.
That's a we had quite the experience at Camp Generate.
More than experience.
You know, do y'all? I mean, y'all probably remember Thursday night.
Yeah.
We went to bed at what time?
Like 4.
4 o'clock.
Yeah.
Because we had a conversation with a student,
Yeah.
and that conversation was what was hanging in the balance.
Yeah.
Like, not saying okay, so let me. 'Cause I know how people get. Oh, you didn't talk about. I'm just talking about a specific situation. I'm not saying that all of our time there at camp, the other students didn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we were in the guys' dorm. We weren't in the girls' dorm. Praise the Lord, right?
Amen.
But we heard that they were up late, right? And there was some conversations happening with our ladies as well.
Wow.
I didn't even tell y'all this.
Yeah.
But they were having some deep conversations till late.
Wow.
I'm just gonna say, and this ain't a brag or nothing like that, but we were very intentional because almost every night we didn't go to bed till about 3 o'clock in the morning, 2 to 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
And so I would say that it's good to hear that in light of what maybe our schedules, things back home may offer us,
Yeah.
that it's important that we consider what he did for us, because that should be the driving factor of why we sacrifice,
Yeah.
right? You know, so I'll give an example. Like, why? Well, I'm gonna ask a question, and Robert, you can chime in on this because I'm thinking about. We were at the gym as a leader. Man, there's moments.
Yeah.
There's moments where, and we'll talk about FCA too, because I love the moments that the activities that we get to participate in Notice I didn't say competition. No, I'm just playing. The activities, the recreation activities, they create, it's interesting, they create such a level of tension between students and sometimes leaders and students. Probably the first thing I noticed 3 years ago or so when I went to FCA camp, and I've seen it at regular church camp, but I'm like, man, if there's no other moments that create like that make people frustrated, that are actually creating discipleship moments, it's like rec.
Yeah.
Anything rec or competition, basketball tournaments, you get to see people almost become themselves. Yeah. Because when you get there, when you get to camp at first, you're trying to be holy, right? I gotta be on my best behavior. Mm-hmm. But if they say basketball and it's rec time, right after we checked in, that's when cussing starts.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
People want to lay hands, and we're not talking about with anointing oil, right? Y'all got to, everybody in this room got to see some of that this summer. Without saying names, we're not gonna. It was very. I enjoyed it.
I think going back, especially at Generate, going back to those moments, playing basketball, those are the moments that you get to live for, because you get to see the true discipleship, the true relationship between a leader and a student. You get to see how a leader handles himself in a position, or if it's a female, handles herself in that position. How do they die to themselves, and how do they pour into that student, knowing that it's not basketball is what we're doing, but this is bigger than basketball.
Right. That's good. That's good. Robert, you want to add in on that? I know you ain't technically mic'd up, but I think the mic should be able to pick you up. I mean, you think, you want to?
I think Mo hit the nail on the head. I think it's interesting to be able to see how the students are able to see that leaders are not perfect.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking of a specific situation. We're playing basketball, and I'm fed up with this student. And I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna say names.
Yeah, we're not gonna say names.
We're not saying names. I'm fed up with a student, and I talked to him after, and I was like, I hope you know, like, it's okay to be competitive. However, I crossed the line here. And so, like, me being willing to just humble myself in that moment, actually, God making me humble myself in that moment, I was not really willing to, honestly. But me humbling myself in that moment to say, like, hey, this is where I missed the mark. Me and that student, the rest of the time that we were there, because that was earlier in the week, the rest of the time we were there was able to be more intentional, because they're able to take the criticism that I was giving them as, okay, this is helpful, not hurtful.
That's good.
I think it starts with our vulnerability to be able to say, hey, I'm not perfect and I mess up here, here, and here. You know.
Wow. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing how Kylie and I'm looking forward to it, because girls are a little bit different than us. They ready to pull each other's skin off each other's face. Like, and y'all can laugh. I mean, we good. Y'all can laugh out loud. Y'all have to hold it in. Okay. But I just want to bring us to how the GOAT is so, like, we don't normally respond like he responds.
Yeah.
But this passage where he's feeding the 5,000. The disciples come to him kind of with a complaint, right?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah,
and just his response is so interesting, and it's crazy because right before he feeds the 5,000, John, the disciples come to Jesus to tell him about John.
Yeah.
But before, so in between when they tell him what happens and when he has this conversation with the disciples, he actually dipped off to go be alone with God. Why? Because sometimes we need to be with the Lord before we start working with difficult people.
Yes.
So I'm going to read it. It says, and this is Matthew 14. If you want to turn there, Matthew 14. Yeah. Hey, kingdom seekers and kingdom keepers, open up your Bible to Matthew 14. Start with verse 13. This is right after the disciples came for John's body. And then they went and told Jesus what happened. Matthew 14, chapter 14, verse 13 is where I'm starting. So it says, as soon as Jesus heard the news, he left in a boat to a remote area to be alone. Okay? Went to be with Lord. Now I heard some bad news. Kind of got some stuff going on. Let me go be with the Father. Okay?
Yeah.
But the crowds heard where he was headed and followed on foot from many towns. Jesus saw the huge crowd and stepped from the boat, and he had compassion on them and healed their sick. Now, sometimes we might need to go be alone with the Lord so that whenever people are in need, we know how to serve them. And then it says, that evening the disciples came to him and said, okay, here we go. This is a remote place, and it's already getting late. So you're telling the person that understands time and that understands where they're at remotely, and he's the king of resources. He is the source. So they're trying to tell him about time and location. Interesting. And they tell Jesus to send the crowds away. Send them away so they can go to the villages and buy some food for themselves. So not even looking to serve the people. So they're coming with like a heart posture that's like, whoa, we with you. We know what you can do, but you need to send them away.
We tired.
But Jesus said, that isn't necessary. And then he says you feed them, but he says that isn't necessary. How often do we find ourselves saying things that aren't necessary? Responding to people in a way that isn't necessary.
Yeah.
But Jesus, he shows us an example, like he was able to stop in that moment, to respond in that moment, because he actually went to go be with the Lord prior to that happening. And so, man, I just love hearing this, because I remember many moments where we can look back at Generate in the FCA camp, and I live for it. And I told the parents, I was like, hey, parents, listen, there's this thing called competition and rec. Like, I'm just telling you, your kid may call you, they may not, because they're not going to have their phones. They may want to call you.
Yeah.
But these moments are moments that foster discipleship moments.
Yeah.
Right. And like Robbie said, it's for us sometimes. Like there's a couple situations that really tested my patience.
Yeah.
As one that's overseeing, what we had going on at Generate. And so it helped me to grow. I grew. I told one of my students, I was like, man, you taught me.
Yeah.
You taught me this week. I had to learn from you, and you're younger than me.
Yeah.
And so what a beautiful opportunity that we get the privilege to serve. Have you heard that before?
Yeah, I heard that before.
The privilege to serve. So awesome. So, Jalen, I think that it would be good. So you sat in some different roles. So what was different than the role you sat in at Generate and at FCA camp, and was one harder than the other? If someone was looking, think like, man, maybe next year I'll go, but it's been 7 years. They keep saying, maybe next year I'll go. I just don't know what to do. I don't know. So as a leader versus as, and I don't even, what was the
huddle leader, boys coordinator assistant.
Right. So you got to sit in a spot where you were kind of being led, and then, so you had a pretty unique opportunity over a course of two weeks. But
yeah.
So unpack those two roles and what maybe God showed you in both those different seats in those weeks.
Yeah, so the first role with Generate, I was a leader, and I love how Generate, they allow us to be with our kids majority of the time, like you're basically with them. And with being a leader, I think you get to experience and build those relationships a lot more faster, especially with some of the kids that you just necessarily don't have yet. But then you also get to walk with them through situations. You're very more hands-on. You experience what they go through, and that you get to have those ministry moments, those discipleship moments that you get to have with that. So being a leader at that capacity, only have to worry about our kids was really eye-opening, because when you focus in on something, you get to see the big picture out what they're going through.
Okay.
You get to feel those emotions, and then also, man, Generate, it brought me down to my knees actually in worship. And on Thursday was a day, and Thursday was one of those days where physically you're drained, maybe emotionally depending on how the week went for you, and mentally, but spiritually I was just like, hey, like I need that moment. And I remember there was a Pacific student that I got to be able to build that relationship and have that discipleship moment, and he brought me joy, and he brought me to my knees, and just because of what happened. But to be able to allow a student to do that, like you said, you get to learn from these students. So being able to do that and really just being in worship on my knees, and actually understanding what worship is, what does it mean to pray for somebody, and having somebody else bring their joy, bring their light to you, that student really helped me out. So that's kind of the leadership role, kind of with Generate. Now, that's being a leader, though, right? Now you go to FCA camp, and this is 2 weeks after. Like, it's not like a month. You don't really have, when you think about all the time, all the thing that you poured out, and especially for me pouring out that week, you're talking about months of recovery, and still recovering, in that. still recovering. But then you turn around and you go into FCA camp. And this is what I love about FCA camp, is because that leader role is filled by college athletes or volunteers or students that you be able to pour into. Now, the thing that I love about this is because we're such in a close age, I can understand what they go through. But what God did in this time, because I was a huddle leader last year. So I got to be a huddle leader last year, see the lens through, okay, what does it mean to run a huddle, almost like a leader? What does it mean to run a huddle, walk with your huddle every single day, be able to, you're in charge of them.
Okay, hold on. This just dawned to me. Huddle. Okay. Kingdom seekers, kingdom keepers. So that they can catch up. We just want to catch everybody up. Huddle is small group, discipleship group. So even at Generate, it wasn't called a huddle, it was a DG. But because some people may not know that, so I was like, okay, let me keep going. I was like, okay, I don't want someone to sign off, because they're like, what are they talking about? Are they at a football game, or what's going on? Keep going. So huddle, DG, small group.
Yeah. So with the huddle, you probably have about 10, depending on the size of the camp, 10 to 15 people that you're in charge of, and you have to be able to disciple them. Depending on the camp, you also have a co-huddle leader, but some of the times, if you're really strong to lead, you'll lead by yourself. And this camp was going to FCA. I didn't know what to expect, because of already coming off of Generate, walking into
bless his heart,
walking into a space where my peers or people that are on the same age, probably in the same walk, I'm in a head of position, or over them. I wouldn't say necessarily ahead of them, but I'm in a position that is over them. Now, how do I come to myself to be able to serve them as much as I can?
Sure.
And especially coming to FCA camp. So we get to camp, go throughout the week. We spent probably about a months prior, meetings, all that stuff, preparing for it. Come the huddle leader coordinators and the assistants, Kylie and Madison in the room too. We all came to set up before, so we were already having to work before for training.
And y'all got there on what, Friday?
Yeah, Friday.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we leave Ruston, Louisiana on, what is that, the 5th, Robbie? The 6th.
6th, yeah.
We get back that Friday. And then we had that week Monday, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you leave that following
Friday.
Okay, so you had all of maybe 10 days to attempt to recover.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So we're going through training, being able to pour out in training, because we're the huddle leaders and the huddle leaders, assistants, and coordinators. We're leading the training. They have to be able to train these huddle leaders to be able to take on a full week of kids, right? So, and the way I looked at it, I broke this down to the huddle leaders, is that you guys have your own huddle, but you guys are our huddle that we have to be able to steward well. So when we went on that going into that Saturday when they got there and being able to build those relationships, the discipleship moments, asking them what are you actually going through, being able to bring down some walls. And we only had 2 days to do it. So it was interesting because when you go throughout the week, that first day that camp starts on Monday, right? It's a half day training up till 12 o'clock.
A half day. Man, we didn't go to bed until.
No,
What you call a half day?
Half day of training. Half day
Oh,
of
okay.
training.
I'm like,
Yeah,
Monday
finishing.
wasn't no half day. I know we left. We got there like at 12. But we
Yeah,
went to bed
yeah.
at like 1 o'clock in the morning. So.
Yeah, we woke up that morning, I want to say like 7 or 8, still going through training, finishing up, getting ready for
Receiving us.
Yes, receiving y'all.
Okay.
And then once they get here, it's go time. Like, as soon as you get off the bus, having people in position. So I got to see myself in the role of what it means to truly sacrifice and truly serve. Because,
And it's hard because when you're there, what you got going on at home,
yeah,
for those that have animals and dogs and things, you can't be there and there at the same time,
no, yeah.
And so, sacrifice.
Yeah.
Oof. And you got 10 humans that you got to keep up with.
Well, that's the huddle leader.
That's right. That's
We
the other
had
leader. Y'all
20 guys, 20 huddle leaders that me and then the camp coordinator or camp huddle leader coordinator were able to.
And that is Matt, right?
Yeah, Matt. Yeah.
Okay.
Me and Matt had to be able to steward it well. So it was really good to be able to see that, really good to be able to just pour into them and to be able to say, hey, like, we're here. Whatever you need some water. I remember going around with a bucket full of snacks and Gatorade. They were out there, just serving.
Okay.
And
what's the average age of the guys? So what's the youngest, and then what's the oldest? And you might not know that.
Yeah,
I'll
say the youngest is probably 19.
19. Okay.
The oldest, anywhere from 25, maybe 26.
Okay.
Maybe. And then also, those are kind of outliers. But you got to think, these are all athletes at the same time. These are all young people at the same time. So how do you...
A lot of energy.
A lot of energy,
Woo!
A lot of different personalities. Still having to get them to open up too as well. So you get to steward them well.
Okay.
So
you're going around serving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going through camp. First night was definitely one of those first days I always think about. It's the first day of practice. And practice is not necessarily always going to be easy. It's not going to look right, and it's not going to be one of those days where you can harp on every little thing. And I remember going into that meeting, because we always have the same meeting at the end of the night. How do we do? How do we feel? What are the wins that we got? And we're just really telling the guys to say, hey, like, you guys are doing great. This is the first night. Get some rest. Get ready for tomorrow. As a full day of tomorrow, and let's pick it up, So going into that second day, it was challenging. It was challenging because I got to see the guys be challenged. So with them being challenged, put more emphasis on myself. How will I be able to serve them even better? How is my huddle doing? Being in a huddle, a leader assistant, coordinator assistant, how am I be able to steward them? And actually, shout out to Cody too, because he was actually one of the other huddle leader coordinator assistants too. But how are we able to steward them well so that they're able to steward their huddles well? It's almost a triple effect, or really the discipleship chain. Is it, how is your disciple doing to where they have to be able to go make disciples? How are they discipling that, right? So we're going into the week. This is the second day. And again, like I said, the second day is a full day that you get to wake up. We're moving from place to place to place. And again, you're in charge of these kids. So some people are losing their kids. Some people are saying, hey.
Well, hold on, parents. If you're seeing this,
We're
not losing them. We never physically lost them off the premises or anything like that.
Yeah.
They were probably with another group, or they were in the bathroom for an hour, you never know. Kids would sleep in their bed or something like that, but we didn't actually lose them. So we don't need anybody sending text messages, writing emails. We didn't lose them. But you have to be there to understand what that means. So yeah.
And we're on a time block for every single thing that we're doing until we go to bed, until lights out.
Structured.
Very structured.
Yeah.
And wanting the guys to get there on time, because if you're late to one thing, it trickles into the next thing, and then the next thing. So we want to be able to have those moments of structure, but then also of discipleship.
Yeah.
That day went how it went, and I remember going into that meeting and this is, I think, just the grace of God to be able to listen and be in tune with the Holy Spirit. And again, this is day 2 fully for everyone at the camp, or day 1, right? This is Tuesday, day 1 fully, a full day. This is probably day 4 for us being at the camp, okay, preparing and training and all that. So mentally and physically, I'm already getting tired as far as having to run through things day by day. And going into that last meeting that night, I had to make a decision on how do I address us getting better and us being able to steward the huddles well.
Yeah.
And going into that meeting, Matt had to deal with something. Cody had to deal with something. So I'm by myself downstairs with a bunch of 20-year-olds, 20 to 25-year-olds, trying to figure out, okay, how do we address this in a tone that they're able to receive it, that it's effective, and it doesn't land on me getting onto them, but calling them up.
Yeah.
And I remember that conversation kind of started off a little more too, and I think that was just the athlete in me too as well. Because again, when you're dealing with athletes, I think there's a tone that you can talk to them to where they were able to receive it. But not everybody in there is an athlete. Some of them are former athletes. Some of them are just volunteering. So my mind shifted almost mid conversation, and when we did something special that night, I told them is that this is what we're going to do. And Matt and Cody just sat there and it's like, hey, go ahead and run that play. But what we're going to do is that we're going to talk about what we see another huddle leader doing great. After already kind of saying, hey guys, like we need to pick it up. And this is where the areas we need to understand. And I told them, I said, your huddle is a reflection of you. So I want you to think about this on a more deeper and a more personal level. Wherever you are in your walk, how is that a reflection to how you're treating your huddle? Because your huddle is a reflection of you. Now, that statement got changed a little bit more down the line of camp because, again, you have these kids who come as they are. So that's not necessarily of them, but the things that you're able to control in that huddle, discipline, and being able to give them the sight of Jesus and to be able to say, hey, guys, let's pick it up. Let's be here on time.
Yeah.
That is almost a reflection of you. So
good.
The things that you can control in that. So we had that going from guy to guy to guy. Probably got done around like 1 o'clock. And the next day, the shift that happens, because again, we're working with athletes. So some of them are able to shift it. It's like, okay, I can turn on that football mode because the kids that are coming are football players, or sometimes they play sports. Maybe talking to them in regulars won't necessarily get it through. But I challenged them. I said, hey, you guys have a switch that you can be able to turn. Let's turn that switch come Wednesday. And Wednesday we've seen a complete 180. And just seeing the guys wanting to be there, being able to pour into them and saying, hey, like, we appreciate what you did. Because, again, if it was a hard conversation, but it was a conversation that needed to be had.
That's good. So good. It so good that it brought me to thinking about a verse that I think we should turn to. As I'm thinking about, I'm not in the room, but I'm thinking about the conversation, the setting.
Yeah.
I think it was last year, me and Ken might have came down and talked to the group. I don't know. I get the years mixed up, but sometimes we get an opportunity to be in that setting. Because, yes, you got truth, but you also have grace, and you got to kind of sometimes massage it a little bit as far as like the setting, who's there. And so Philippians 4 comes to mind when I'm thinking about the shift that you had to make in your mind so that you can help them make a kingdom mindset shift so that they can connect to the huddle that they have and build some kingdom relationships while they're there to lead to a kingdom influence and impact throughout the rest of the week. And so Philippians 4 verse 8, I mean, it's a very popular verse, but as I'm listening to this, I started thinking about you were fixing your thoughts, like Lord, help me to really fix my thoughts on what is true, what's honorable, what's right, and pure
Yeah.
and lovely and admirable. Think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise, and for you to say like, hey, yeah, we were trying to encourage them to think about things others were doing that's worthy of praise,
Yeah.
right? Keep putting into practice all you learned and received, right? From me, everything you heard from me saying and me doing. And as you were saying, like what the huddle does, or what the leaders are doing, we have to understand the impact that has on those that they're leading.
Yeah.
And so, man, what a gift. And I hope those that are watching that may be considering, hey, we'd love for you to sign up for FCA to volunteer next year, or maybe just sign up at your local church
Yeah.
to go serve as a leader. The harvest is plentiful, but the labors are few. And we need more people signing up to help lead at camp. It's always a need. Like don't assume that your church, or even for FCA camp, whatever area you're living in, that they got it, hey, we could always use more. I don't know
Yeah.
that we could ever
Have
close
enough.
registration and say, hey, we got way too many. We always need more. In fact, TCAL just sent off our camp. What's today? Today is
The
Friday,
12th.
right? No, today's Saturday. Ooh. Robbie, what day did they leave? They left, what day?
the
It was Thursday.
Thursday.
yeah.
Took 80 people.
Yeah.
80,
And only 14 of them are leaders.
right? I mean, like,
Do the math on that.
if you're walking with Jesus, we need that kingdom connection, right? We need that kingdom connection.
Yeah.
Because we need more people to be available to serve and to pour into this next generation. And so, man, that verse really just speaks to me, and hopefully it's an encouragement to those that are watching that have been, again, kind of teetering with like, I don't know if I have a place. Guess what? You ain't got to have a place.
No.
It ain't got to be like just sign up and serve. We'll
Yeah.
figure it out. We will figure it out.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so thank you for sharing that, because I think that if I'm maybe considering signing up at my church to serve somewhere, or maybe considering how do I get connected to FCA, man, I think there's no better time to kind of get your feet wet or to really get an experience than going to camp.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
it really allows you a unique opportunity. We talked about this before, like at camp, you talked about when y'all get there. But what it's afforded is from the time that students show up at camp to the time they leave, there's more hours in that 1 week than a youth ministry, a youth leader, a youth pastor gets to spend over a semester.
Wow. Yeah, that's true.
And so going to camp is what I would believe is it's worth it. It's definitely beneficial. Well, speaking of that, on the other side of camp, when you come back outside of trying to recover from sleep, mental, physical, I won't say exhaustion, but you are tired. You're pretty tired, and you're trying to recall God moments, right?
Yes.
Because a lot of times when you're moving through camp, there's so many happening. You kind of remember them. You have these like snapshots, but that takes up storage in your brain. Then you get on the other side, and you're like, okay, I remember this moment. I remember seeing that student hands raised, that testimony. I remember seeing that student day 1 to day 4. All these different things you're trying to now really just collect and say, okay, man, I'm grateful I got to be a part of that. But there's something that I think we don't often talk about. Me and Pastor DJ talked a little bit about this, but I would be curious to hear from you, and I'll hear from the ladies as well. But what do you do next as a leader? So we talk about, we kind of tapped into what do you do next as a student when you've had transformation and life change?
Yeah.
Right? Getting connected to community, staying in God's word, right? Going back and doing an assessment, an inventory, and an audit. What are the things I need to pull out that could really interfere or inhibit my ability to experience God the way I did this week? Because students didn't have phones.
That's true.
They didn't have some of their friends that may pull them in certain directions.
Yes.
Right. They didn't have a lot of the distractions of maybe the daily schedule. But when they get back home, that comes right back into the picture.
Yeah.
So for leaders, because you got to sit you got to sit in both seats. Some of the leaders that were at FCA camp, like what's something, I mean, again, we're weeks away already, but what's something that you feel like for the guys that you would really encourage them to consider doing to carry the momentum of what they saw God do in their individual lives? And it may just be, maybe you don't have that answer, but I'm just curious, like, because you were in that seat.
Yeah.
So what's something that maybe you you feel like would be beneficial for others to hear that has helped you carry the momentum? Because you said on Thursday night, like, that's when it hit for you.
Yeah.
Right. But we don't leave Thursday night there. That's got to come home with us, and we got to utilize that to help us continue this kingdom walk. And so,
Yeah.
what would you advise the FCA guys that you and Cody and Matt were overseeing to maybe consider doing, even though we're weeks out? Like, man, I would say go back to this moment, or maybe tap into this.
Yeah. So one of the things that I constantly do, and I picked this up when I was in 7th grade, was journaling. And really, after each and every day, or no, it depends on what happened that day, in the morning or the night, I would journal exactly what is going on. I would journal my emotions, my feelings, the interactions and conversations, everything that is being poured out or happening to me. I journal it and write it down, because when people forget, paper remembers.
Ooh, okay. Okay.
But when I think about that, is now being outside 2 weeks outside of camp, or 2 weeks outside of having that week in those moments, and now we go back to reality of with the world and with the people around us going back home. How do you remember those things? How do you recall back? Well, you journaled everything down. You written everything down in the moment, not having to recall back, okay, this is what I might have thought. No, the exact words. And be honest, when you're writing in your journals, man, this is really God. This is how I'm feeling today.
Okay.
I feel like I can't keep going, but by your strength, I will.
Wow.
And I really went back and looked, okay, on this day, how did I feel? And this day, and then when you put it all together, it's not the fact that you can only see one day, but you can see the progression throughout the week about what's going on. And now you take that progression and then you apply it to your life depending on what it was. So there's stuff from Generate that I'm still applying right now and able to take from it in every ministry moment. And I think what was special about Generate and why Generate needed to happen is because going into FCA camp, I took things from Generate to be able to take it into FCA camp, to say now, okay, I have experienced these things. I have gotten really in a position with my heart posture and everything I'm feeling. I laid it down during worship, taking that drive and taking it into FCA camp.
Wow.
And pouring it out.
That's good. That's good. So the tip would be to journal. And I think they can still journal now, even if you weren't journaling during, don't take for granted what God may bring back to your memory in your time with him. So so if you were, huddle leader, or even if you went to a camp and it wasn't FCA camp, journal. Begin to just ask the Lord to help you to recall and recount those God moments. And I believe that anything that he wants you to remember, bring back to your memory. Man, let's segue into, I'd like to land this plane just kind of talking about what God is doing in and through you in your area, and what you got going on, what's let's go there.
817. Yeah, so this has been, now coming back home, kind of readjusting, processing, and then getting ready, preparing. The one question I ask for myself, and I think this is just great, how when you have an athlete, especially a former athlete, they always ask you at the beginning of the year or before you go into the season, what is this season going to look like for you? And I ask that question to myself, what is 817 FCA going to look like in 2025 and 2026 for the school season and camp season too? What is that going to look like? And I really had to come to myself and say, God has shown me, put me in positions of leadership, different roles, from a leader to a huddle leader assistant, coordinator assistant, to work, being in the church and serving too as well, to now handling God's word. What does that look like for me to be able to be in this position now that, again, over the Fort Worth area in Crowley? How am I able to say, okay, what is this really about? And he brought me to these two words of the ministry, to label it. The ministry is going to be a ministry of prayer and a ministry of presence. And that is, to me, looking at that and how that is very, very important, is because without prayer, we are operating from a place of ourselves and our flesh and not consulting God about what do we actually need to do rather than what we want to do. Are we operating out of his will, or are we operating out of our own will? And that was the first thing that he told me, is that you need to pray about what I want from God, but what I want for you in this ministry and how I want it to grow. So that's the first thing with prayer. And I'm big about that because this past season, being able to be with the teams, be able to be their chaplain or their character coach, and just pray for them. Pray for them during the game. Pray for them during the state game. Kids coming up to me and saying, thank you for introducing me to Jesus. And that is my goal. But to be able to have those roles and those different positions, like, hey, let's pray about it. Before we do anything else, let's pray about it. But then you have the other word, is a ministry of presence. And why presence is so big is because I noticed when I walk into rooms, when I walk into locker rooms, when I walk into or pregame and the guys are all there and I'm just sitting there, the ministry of presence is there. Is that some of these kids, some of these coaches, is that you might be the only man of God, or if you're in this position, you're a woman of God, that they see is like, okay, he calls himself a Christian, but how is he acting? How is he moving? Does he do this for show, or does he actually care about our team? Does he actually care for me as a coach? Because we don't just serve student athletes.
Right.
We serve coaches too. But then one of the things that God has shown me recently is the ministry of presence within the community. When you think about just Fort Worth in general, when you think about the Crowley ISD in general, being present there is probably one of the most influential things that you can do consistently.
Yeah.
Is be present. And because, again, we think about Fort Worth in general, all the different things happening in the school system, but then also, man, what is consistent there? And is it they hear from different outlets, but are they able to hear from God consistently through people, and are people that do have this task that God has called up to be present within Fort Worth? It is a blessing.
Okay, Robbie knows this, but you don't know this. That there's something you said that is definitely look at him. I'm like, did he just say that word? I had a chance to share this, I think, at a conference earlier this year, but I stole it from Ken. Like, as me and him were at CFNI last year, teaching, and he said it, and I was like, "Yep, taking that one," because he didn't even know he said it. But I'm like, "I'm taking that one," right? So I said, "Hey, man, just by the way, you said this. I'm going to start using this for now." But he was, we were talking to a room of people that felt like they had a call to ministry, and they were just wondering, like, what is something that you would advise us to do? And Ken is big on the ministry of presence.
Yeah. And
like, so he's talking, and immediately what came to mind are the first three letters of each one of those words. Mop. And Jesus was known for stepping into mess and mopping it up.
Yeah.
Good, bad, and ugly. When he was with the disciples and they were eating and he knew what was getting ready to happen.
Yeah.
He got down and he began to clean their feet.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so he is the greatest of all time, of the ones that understand what it means to be present.
Yeah.
And he also showed us what it looked like to pray,
Yeah.
right? And
Going
so,
by himself. Yeah.
man,
Yeah.
the ministry of prayer, right? And so, like, it's encouraging to hear, like, of all things, there's a lot of different things we can give, tips and stuff like that. But the word says, like, prayer, never cease praying, right? Pray in the Spirit at all times for all believers,
Yes.
everywhere, on every occasion, right? And then being present, right? And so, man, what an encouragement to hear journaling, but then also the power of prayer and presence. And it's funny because, like, no lie, somebody reached out and asked for prayer, I think this morning.
Wow.
Like, they didn't ask for tips, they didn't ask for worldly advice,
Yeah.
they asked for prayer,
Wow. Yeah.
And so, just right on time. And so, well, I'm always grateful that we get this opportunity just to talk about what God is doing
Yeah.
in and through your life. So you got anything going on in the 817 area this summer? And then
Yeah.
what is something we can look forward to coming into this next school year as we get ready to land this plane?
Yeah. So we have been working with Crowley Football Team and then North Crowley Football Team, and then also the other schools that want to have FCA throughout the summer. It's a little bit different just because they're not in a school setting, so they'll have time to be able to go a little bit more deeper after workouts. So we're really excited about that. This upcoming week, we'll have our first watermelon drop. So we're bringing watermelon to the kids.
Where's that at?
That's going to be at Crowley.
Okay.
So bringing watermelon to the kids, and then the next week will be North Crowley, and then the following week, or the end of the month, will be Arlington Heights. So
this will be post workouts.
Post workouts.
And they get to pull up.
Get watermelon.
Okay. So
yes.
That's what I'm talking about.
So I'm really excited about that. Really excited to just be able to serve again. When you get a vision to be able to do that. But as far as moving forward, I actually wrote this down in my journal. When we're talking about journals, I have my journal here. One of the things that, and I think, again, this goes back to talk about praying, but I'm big about apparel. Wearing apparel, getting some gear, getting things that represent who I am within Christ, but then also just FCA too as well. And one of the things that I thought about and is what is going to be a word that we could use for our athletes that are going to be in FCA or athletes in Fort Worth and Crowley. And one of the things is that a saying is that we are made for it, we are built for it because we prayed for it. And have that on a shirt on the back. So this is one of the things that we got coming in. So excited to see where that goes, because again, when you think about you were made for it, God made you.
Right.
When you think about you were built for it, it is that the fact that he made you and the fact that we place our faith within him, that we continue to build on that, build on our gifts, build on our callings, build on the fact that faith without works is dead. So we have to put in the work to build up and continue to go in our walk. But it's because we prayed for it, though.
That's good.
This is what we wanted, right?
That's so good.
So
that's so good. Say it again. So we're
made for it.
We're
built for it
because we
prayed for it.
Man, that is special. Well, Jalen, thank you again. This has been extremely helpful, I think, for those that are watching this, you kingdom keepers, kingdom seekers. If you were within 700 miles of this area, and you aren't serving with FCA next year, we're coming to get you. We're just going to pick you up on the way out there. But yes, Hardin Simmons University is where it's usually located. We've been going there for a couple years now, a little bit, but we always need volunteers. We need guys, we need ladies. You'll get to hear from some of our lady leaders. And so Man, thank you again for just sharing what God has been doing in and through you at the different camps, but also here locally. Go and check him out. Hey, if you're in that 817 area and you don't have an FCA huddle going, hey, go reach out to him.
Yeah.
Go to the IG page, reach out to go to the IG page. Now, when you slide into the DMs about a huddle, okay?
Yes.
Because I will come for you. I will come for you. So, we all about the kingdom business. But go check him out. If you're there, athletes, pull up to him.
Yeah.
Go to the IG page, reach out to go to the IG page. Now, when you slide into the DMs about a huddle, okay?
Yes.
Because I will come for you. I will come for you. So, we all about the kingdom business. But go check him out. If you're there, athletes, pull up. Man, come get poured into. Keep it kingdom, right? It's not just a saying, it's a lifestyle. Kingdom mindsets lead to a kingdom connection, and kingdom connections always turn into kingdom relationships, and kingdom relationships always have a kingdom impact. Hey, it's been fun. Always, it's a blessing. Thank you again for hanging out with us. Please like, subscribe, and share. If you feel like this has been helpful to you at any point in time and you need prayer, reach out to us. Let us know how we can stand in the gap with you. Man, until next time, we are so thankful that you joined us today. We love you. We'll see you soon. Peace.